This is the Dewalt DCF 886 Threat Level Midnight XXX rated Blackout Edition, and it is extremely rare. So rare, in fact, that this might just be the only one in existence. But don't worry, because I am going to tell you exactly how you can get your own. If you've been watching my channel for a while now, then you know that Dewalt power tools are pretty much my main platform of cordless tools, and I have quite a few of them. It's pretty rare for me to look at other tool companies and think, oh, I wish I had that, because Dewalt pretty much has everything that I need. However, there is one glaring exception to that statement: Makita. Makita makes these really awesome special edition colors of their impact drivers and other tools. They do red, purple, and of course they do a special edition blackout version that I have just, I've always wanted it for so long. And I've been waiting for Dewalt to follow suit in a similar way. And I've been waiting, and I've been waiting, and they are just not doing it. So today, I am taking matters into my own hands. I went on YouTube and I found these videos of people dyeing plastic motorcycle parts, and it got me thinking, I wonder if I could do something similar like that with my power tool cases. So today, we are going to create our own Blackout Edition power tools. I'm gonna walk you through the process, I'm gonna show you all the pitfalls, and hopefully by the end of the video, you will be able to make something that looks like this. With all that being said, let's rewind the clock, and I'm gonna throw this video back to me yesterday when I first started this project. All right, so I think we have everything that we're gonna need right here. These are our chemicals and some of the things that we'll actually be using to do the dye, but we're gonna set those aside for a minute. And we're going to start by disassembling the tools that we wanna dye. So I have 2 Dewalt Impact guns here, and then I also have a little Craftsman flashlight, just because I wanted to see if there'd be any difference in dyeing between the different colors of plastics. So let's start by disassembling these guys and getting them prepped and ready to be dyed. So why dye and not some sort of paint product like spray paint? It's a good question, but I think at the end of the day, it all comes down to durability. A paint finish is just gonna be sitting on top of the tool, and the nice thing about a dye is that it actually penetrates into the plastic and dyes below the surface. So if these get any scratches or abrasions or anything like that, they're not going to then show through to the original yellow down below. So that's all the screws. Kind of wants to come apart, but not really. Is there something right here? Now, what is keeping you together? Oh, it's because I'm an idiot and I forgot a screw. That'll do it every time. Okay, now it comes apart much easier. Look at the inside of this thing. This is pretty impressive. It's also extremely dirty. Real quick, I'm just gonna take a photo of this thing in its disassembled state, so hopefully I can put it back together later. How do you come apart? Oh, maybe it was just years of grime holding it in place. That's actually really cool, look at that. The whole thing is just like one unit that you can just drop right in there. They actually made this really easy for me. Well, I'll definitely clean that up, but first, I'm kind of curious, will this work without a case? How did you electrocute yourself, Zach? Well, I was trying to use my drill without a case on it. Yeah, still works. That's funny. And I almost forgot, we also have to disassemble the Craftsman. Well, the bottom's definitely coming apart, no problem, but up here at the top is still connected somehow. Haha, yes. The hidden screw. This is actually a really simple little device at the end of the day. Not much more than some wires, a switch, and an LED. All right, let's get these guys cleaned up, and then we can move on to the next step of this project build. I don't know what to call this. In order to give our dye the best possible chance of penetrating into this plastic, we are going to clean and degrease these tools because they have seen a lot of action over the years and they're looking pretty dirty. So we're just gonna scrub the crap out of them here in the sink. So these guys are now just about as clean as they're gonna get. So there's one last little thing I wanna do before we actually start dyeing. Most power tools come covered in warning labels and branding stickers, which obviously aren't going to die very well. So I just use a heat gun and a little metal spudging tool to peel them off, and then I'll reattach them later. Oh, you know what? I actually just realized it's gonna look dumb if I don't do the battery case as well. So just give me a second to strip this down and clean it as well. I've never actually opened one of these up, so it'll be kind of interesting to see what the battery case looks like on the inside. Obviously, standard disclaimer, disassembling batteries, dangerous, blah, 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 blah. You guys get it. You know what you're doing. You're adults. You can decide for yourself if this is a good idea or not. Oh, look at that. Just splits right there, right there. Beauty. That's actually really easy. Perfect. The only yellow piece is its own little thing. We don't even really have to disassemble the battery that much. Awesome. All right, now on to the mad science portion of this video. So there are a few things you are going to need. I guess first and foremost, you're going to need a vessel to work with. I just got this metal baking sheet tray thing off Amazon. I think that was about $10. You are going to need this RIT Dymore synthetic dye. That synthetic part is apparently very important. I was only able to find this in a graphite color, which looks pretty close to black, but it might be like a really dark gray. So I got 2 bottles of those. Those were, I think, 12, 13 bucks each. Keep in mind that's Canadian. You're gonna need a little bit of acetone. We'll talk more about what this does in a minute. And then you are going to need a hot plate or some sort of method in order to heat up your dye water acetone mixture. So what we're gonna do to start is fill up our vessel / baking sheet thing with enough water so that our parts can be fully submerged in it, and then, you know, maybe a little bit of extra margin, just you want them to be well and covered. I'm having a hard time talking today, in case you can't tell. It should be room temperature water too, because we're gonna add the acetone in a minute and it can react if the water's a little too hot. Okay, that's about enough. And now, the next step is going to be adding our dye to the water. I got 2 bottles because I figure more is probably better than too little. So this stuff should theoretically be pretty powerful, so you might want to be sure that you don't get it. Oh, that's really cool looking. Oh, I wish I filmed this close up. That is awesome. Oh, well, next time, right? What was I saying beforehand? You probably want to be careful and not get this stuff on your clothes because it is made for dyeing clothes. And now we're going to add our acetone. So you want to add about 7 ounces of acetone. The ratio of acetone that you use, I guess, is something that you kind of have to play around with a little bit. So we'll see how 7 ounces does. If it's not enough, we'll add a little bit more. So the idea with the acetone is that it helps to open up the pores of the plastic and allow the dye to penetrate into it. Without the acetone, you're barely going to get any dye transfer at all. Oh my God. If I spill this, it is gonna make the world's worst mess here in the shop. So I'm just gonna be careful. Oh, there we go. Now for the fun part. You know what? We are working with acetone and we're gonna be heating it up. So I think I should probably put on my respirator. This stuff is gonna get nasty, and I'll also throw on some extractor fans, open all the windows here in the shop. So do our best to mitigate as many fumes as we possibly can. So I'm using my little laser thermometer here to measure the temperature of our concoction, and we're trying to get it up to 200 degrees, or, you know, kind of in that range. Right now we are at 96, so this might take a while, but you can see it is starting to boil ever so slowly. Oh no, I was worried this might happen. Our vessel has sprung a leak. So you see this rivet here that they use to attach the handle? It's letting out a little bit of our liquid. Maybe I can patch that with some hot glue. I don't have a lot of faith that that's gonna patch it. As we approach the 200 mark, this thing has really slowed down its rate of acceleration or whatever. It's taken a long time to go from 150 to 200 is what I'm trying to say. Also, I'm holding my laser gun sideways because I'm cool. You know, to be honest, I'm having a pretty hard time getting this thing up to temperature. The highest I'm reading right now is like 189. In the interest of not having this take all day, I'm just gonna kind of go for it at this temperature. I'll keep the heat on and hopefully it'll keep heating up as things go on. But yeah, let's put some parts in. Whew, just drop that right in there. Can't even see it anymore. I need to find space in there. I should have got a bigger vessel. Oh no. Oh, all right, that worked. And you know, this has been boiling for a while, so I'm gonna add just a touch more acetone. In case anybody wants a prime example of why you don't add acetone to the mixture after it's already heated, here you go. I was worried that I boiled off too much acetone while I was getting everything up to temperature, but this was definitely not the right way to add more. If I had to do this all over again, I'd probably start with 10 or 11 ounces of acetone instead of that original 7. Okay, it's been all of like 5 minutes. Let's see. Oh, that might indeed be working. You can see on the inside, I don't know if there's like an air bubble or something in there, but the inside of it hasn't changed, but yeah, that's going good. Okay, what about the Craftsman? Not as much as the yellow Dewalt plastic. I wonder if they use a different plastic or it's just a different pigment, but it does seem to be affecting it, so we're just gonna leave that for a little bit longer. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh, that is sick. Oh man, I'm hyped on this now. Okay, all right, gotta keep letting the dye do its thing. Gonna get back in there. Sweet. Oh, I can't believe that's working so well. Okay, it's about 10 minutes later. Let's do a quick update. Oh man, the Dewalt stuff is taking the dye really well. Look at that, that's almost already perfectly black. Okay, now let's check the Craftsman. This is the type of red we started with, and this is where we're at. It's definitely going a lot slower on the Craftsman stuff, I guess because it started as a darker color. You know, in the interest of doing as much of this as I can, I'm gonna take the Craftsman guys out and put them to the side, and then I'm gonna actually do some other Dewalt tools because the Dewalt plastic just seems to take the dye so much better. So I took the Craftsman shells out, and then I stripped down a Dewalt DCD 708 compact drill and added that to the die vat. As you can imagine, I wanted to have a combo drill/driver set that were both blacked out. While I waited for the drill shell to start taking the dye, I decided to get a jump start on durability testing those Craftsman parts. That seems to be on there pretty good. I mean, if you scratch deep enough into the plastic, the red is still there, but you have to go pretty deep in order to get to it. Yeah, it's like at least like a 1/16 in there before you start to hit the red plastic again. Really interesting. You know what? I should do my scratch test on the inside. I'm an idiot. You can see here the dye didn't quite absorb evenly into the Craftsman tool, which is kind of interesting. I wonder why. At this point, the original Dewalt Impact driver had been in the dye for a little over 2 hours, and I figured it was as dark as it was gonna get. Oh, come on, look how good that looks. Okay, let's do our scratch test again here. Look at that, that dye is in there. Really have to go at it before you can start to reveal anything. One thing that I saw while doing the research for this video is that it's a good idea to give whatever you're dyeing a quick wipe down with pure acetone in order to remove any excess dye that's just sitting on the surface. This helps to give you a much more even finish and helps to prevent any dye transfer from happening later on down the line. As a final step, I gave the parts a good thorough rinse in the sink and then started piecing my impact driver back together. And I realized that I missed this tiny little bit of yellow plastic in the LED color, so I just blacked that out with a Sharpie. Then it was time to test and make sure that I put everything back together right. All right, moment of truth. Does it work? Sure does. Look at that. I did think about completely blacking out the tools and removing the stickers, but I wanted these tools to look as factory as possible, so I decided to put them back on. Okay, now let's see how our drill is doing. Ow. Oh, that doesn't look very good. Why is this not working? This has been in here for like, I don't know, hour and a half at this point. That's disappointing to say the least. Despite being slightly disappointed with the subpar results, I gave the drill shell the same after dye treatment and then pieced it back together along with my Craftsman flashlight. All right, so time for a little bit of post-mortem analysis. Why did this one work so well and then these two didn't work all that well? Truth be told, I don't really know. So I can speculate about a couple of things. One idea that I had is that maybe Dewalt switched their manufacturing process at a certain point and started using a different type of plastic with their newer tools, because I believe these two are significantly newer than this. This is a DCF 886, And it's probably about 3 or 4 years old at this point, whereas these are probably made in the last 2 years. It's also possible that I just didn't use enough dye and that this soaked up all the dye early on and didn't leave enough for these two, but I don't really know about that because the Craftsman housing went in at the same time as this, and clearly the impact driver ended up getting a lot darker. So I don't think that's it. The only other theory that I had is that maybe a lot of the acetone evaporated early on and it wasn't able to penetrate into these ones as well as it was this one. But again, that doesn't really make that much sense because the Craftsman case was in for just as long as the Dewalt case. So yeah, I really think it comes down to slightly different compositions of plastic. At the end of the day, I don't actually mind the look of this. I mean, yeah, I set out to make it black and it ended up green, but it's kind of got like a same look as like the green that you see in camos. I could see this actually being a special edition tool that DeWalt made at some point. And same thing with the deep maroon of the Craftsman stuff. I think this actually looks really cool. Now, what about practicality? I mean, you guys saw when I scratched away at the inside of the case on this one, the pigment's in there pretty deep. So you would really have to mark one of these before you saw the original yellow color showing through. Another thing that I was worried about that I'm actually quite pleased by is like my hands are very clean right now. I just washed them in the sink and I'm not getting any dye transfer from the grip. I was really worried about the rubber grip transferring the dye to my hands. But I'll have a little bit of rubber on there now, but yeah, my hands are still clean after handling this. And now for the big question, would I recommend that other people do this same project at home? I mean, yeah, if it's something you're into, if you think that, you know, investing an afternoon of your time into dyeing your tools is a good use of your time, then I say go for it. This is a great way to distinguish your tools from other people's tools on a shared job site, or if you're just kind of like me and you like modding things, I think this is a fun little mod that you can do. I'm also kind of hoping that I can use this video as a way to send a message to DeWalt that they really should be doing special edition blacked out tools the way Makita is. So let me know down in the comments if this was actually a product you could buy on store shelves. Would you guys buy it? I know I would. I would even pay a small $10, $15 premium for a special edition blacked out tool. Oh, and just in case you guys forgot, this is what we started with and this is where we ended up. So pretty dramatic difference, I'd say. Man, that's crazy. I love how this looks. On that note, I think we are done here. Thank you so much for watching. Big thank you to all my Patreon supporters. You guys rock. I really appreciate it. The support helps make these videos possible. And I will include links to all the products that I use in the video description. All right, everybody, that is it for me. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.